Hey, oh, turned down for what? Thank goodness it's Friday. Welcome to the shoot around with myself, Britne Jones, aka the executive, alongside Jason Collins, aka Jay Bird, and Kevin Walker, aka Kevin 11. He finally picked the daggone nickname. Let's go, K Walk. What's going on, K Walk and Jay?
Everything's good. Everything good. Glad it's Friday.
Absolutely. It took K Walk a minute there to finally pick a nickname, but he settled on one, Kevin 11. So it's all good now. It's all good. Besides, K Walk, we gotta set up our one-on-one challenge because you swear up and down you're gonna beat me. Oh, I'm sorry, was that Coach Duck? It was one of them.
All I know is I want to be there. I'll make a special trip up. I want to be there for that.
All right. So for those who's listening over the radio, thank you always. And then those who's watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to us at the Shoot Around with our initials, the Shoot Around BJK podcast on YouTube. So please subscribe, like, and check those notification bells. I know that's a whole new thing now, but y'all ready to talk some basketball?
Let's do it.
All right, let's talk some basketball. So I know, Jay, we was gonna wait for your segment to talk about this, but I just want to get this out the way. All right, we're gonna get this out the way. Yes, y'all, my Sixers lost to the Heat. Okay, see, there you go, K-Walk. If you're watching on YouTube, he's showing off his Miami Heat. Remember, K-Walk, you're not the championship yet. You got to still get through the Eastern Conference Finals, so remember that. But my Sixers lost. It's all good. 99-90 to the Heat last night. I just want to know your thoughts on Harden primarily, because it might be a big situation there, and the rest of what happened. Jay, you want to take this one first?
Yeah, you know what? For me, Harden is who I thought he was. You know, when he was on the Nets, I was watching him really closely, and I was saying, look, this guy is not the same James Harden that was in Houston. And we heard Embiid echo those same thoughts at the press conference last night. He's no longer 28-8 James Harden. He's not going to get you that. He's now 18-6 James Harden. So if you're Philly and you can live with that, then bring him back because he's still a super talented player. But I don't think you can throw a boatload of money at this guy and overpay him. So I think the Sixers have some tough decisions to make as far as that goes. And then I think the other question too, and look, I know people jump on this bandwagon a lot, but I've been hearing whispers about Doc Rivers. Like, is he the right guy to lead this team? So Philly's got some tough decisions to make. But look, I think anytime you have the big man in the middle, Joel Embiid, that's a great starting point, and you just got to get the right pieces around him. But I will say, I think it was a very disappointing end for the Sixers this year. I mean, championship aspirations and then losing in the second round, that's got to be disappointing for Philly fans.
Well, before I have you chime in and do your gloating and all that other stuff, but I'm gonna answer this question, my own question first. You know what? To answer your question that you had about Doc Rivers, Doc Rivers is the head coach. They already cleared that up today. They say he's the head coach for next year, rightly so. You know what? I say give him one more year. This will be the first year. Hopefully, he has some real stability. There's no constant trades going on. It's not a whole bunch of nonsense going on. So hopefully this will allow him to get some real stability and he can really coach this team. Hopefully everybody comes back healthy. It was kind of unfortunate that Joel Embiid got elbowed in the eye and it broke his orbital bone. And then he had issues with his thumb, but you could kind of tell a little bit. I thought he was fighting through it. So I give him credit. Because when he came back, even in the third game, he still wasn't himself. Now, James freaking Harden. Something's up with James Harden, guys. Something's going on. I don't know exactly what's going on with this guy because most of the time it's the problem of he's shooting too much. He's taken away from his teammates. Now he didn't shoot at all. I think not at all in the second half. what is going on? Is he up to something? Is he trying to do something? What's going on? He understood that this was a contract year for him. Basically, he understood that this was a max. Him getting that super max deal was at in stake, and he did not perform up to par whatsoever. Now, the thing with the Sixers team, it's not that they lack talent. They may not have the depth on the team, but they definitely don't lack talent. I think it's a mental toughness. They don't have that mental toughness that you need. That PJ Walker.
Yeah.
That I'm sorry, PJ Tucker, not Walker. Where I get the Walker from? PJ Tucker. That on the Bucks, I forgot Bobby Portis's. You know, the guy that does kind of the dirty work for the team. You know, the Al Horfords for the Celtics. So, I mean, like I've been telling you guys this entire time, because K-Walk, I know for sure, I told you yesterday, I did not have faith in the Sixers. I feel like they need a full off season, a full season to really get acclimated with one another, to really understand each other, and hopefully get some new pieces in here to see how this goes. So this is going to be an interesting off season for the Sixers. But I will say kudos to the Heat. They did play some great defense. Some very good defense, and at the same time, it's on the fault of the Sixers. That's why they lost, because nobody was moving. How do you stay stagnant? Nobody's moving. This is game 6. This is an elimination game. Take it more serious. But you can see again the energy. Remember, I told you guys, especially Jay, about the next game. First 5 minutes, I could tell they was going to lose. Same thing with the last 2 games here. I was like, this is not it. Danny Green went out. I texted you guys and said, this is over. I was like, that's it. So we'll see what happens next year. You always got another year, but the hope is that Joel Embiid can stay healthy again. Okay, well, it's okay. Mhm. 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 K Walk, don't make me smile. I love me some Jay Bright. Don't make me smile. Don't make me smile. Mhm. Don't even try it. Don't try it. Okay, well, Joel Embiid is not going anywhere, and I think you know that. If anything, Jimmy Butler will fly his butt right back to Philly. Next thing,
I'm a
next thing
conspiracy
you know,
theorist. I'm a conspiracy theorist.
if the Heat don't win, I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy Butler ended up back in Philadelphia. I would not be surprised.
He's got 2 years left on his deal. He's got 2 years left on his deal. So
yeah, but nah, for who? For who? For Joe Tyler Hero, for Joel Embiid? Are you crazy? Oh, so how does that make us better? Oh, so we just starting over. We would take everybody you got for Joel Embiid. Yeah, you're right. But this is like I said, it's definitely going to be a an interesting off season for the Sixers. So let's see how this goes. But good luck to the Heat. I'm actually going to root for the Heat only because of Jimmy Butler. If Jimmy Butler wasn't on that squad, I'm not rooting for him. But I love Jimmy Butler that much that I gotta root. I'm a root for the Heat. Although I do still have the Bucks going to the final. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Hey, real quick, Britt. Real quick, something interesting about the Sixers. Two things. Number one, I thought it was interesting that Doc had to coach effort. Like, you shouldn't have to coach effort. And we saw it in the last 2 games, him having to coach effort. Like, the guys didn't understand the urgency of the moment. And then the other thing, Britt, question for you. Do you expect Harden to be back? I mean, what's your feel on that? Do you think he's coming back? Was he self-sabotaging by not taking shots? What do you think about Harden?
I absolutely think he self-sabotaged that Supermax contract he thought he was going to get. And Daryl Morey will think twice about it if he's considering it. Don't do that in this city. This is not Houston. We will burn you down. Not literally, guys, just figuratively, not literally. So don't take that serious. Like, we will come with our picks, our pitches and our forks and whatever other stuff and start marching and protesting in front of your house. It's a different city. You guys know y'all from South Jersey, so you know how Philly fans are. But I don't know what's going on with Harden. I honestly don't. From, like I said earlier, from a guy that loves to shoot the ball, loves to control the ball, he takes no shots. So something is going on, something that we'll probably find out a little bit later exactly what's going on. Hopefully it'll come out so we know, but this is not, even with Brooklyn, like, he was just with Brooklyn, he was making shots, and not even making them, he was shooting those shots. So this is something interesting. But I know for sure he knows that he's not about to get that max contract after playing like this. He's going to opt into his contract. We know that. So he's going to get the 47 for next year. But they're going to have to see how this goes because you gave too much for him. So you gave up too much for him. So, like I said, let's see what happens with a full off season. If his hamstring is bothering him still, do what you need to do in the off season. You better come back fit. This seems like a place you want to be. You said you want to be here. Even in the post press conference last night, you said you want to be here. So do what you need to do. And just come back better next year. Let's hopefully he does it. If not, Philly is definitely going to be like, get him out of here. So we giving you a chance into next season because we know we don't have a choice. After next season, if it don't work out, get him out of here because we don't want to move Joel Embiid. So that's
Did you say 40? Did you say 47 next year?
47.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh my goodness. That's a high price right there, man.
Whew. I mean, that's the contract Houston gave him. They gave him that. We just traded for it. But that's only 1 year. So it is what it is. All right, guys, we're going to head into our first break. Then when we come back, we got to talk about this NBA MVP. Jay, I really got to get your thoughts on this. K-Walk, I know we talked about this yesterday, but I want our shoot around family to get your thoughts on it as well. And then I got some other questions for you. Some top 5 forgotten NBA stars. So let's see. I want to know what your top 5 are. But you guys are listening to the shoot around with myself, Britne Jones, alongside Jason Collins and Kevin Walker, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. Welcome back to the shoot around with myself, Britne Jones, alongside Jason Collins and Kevin Walker, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. All right, guys, now that we got past that terrible Sixers Heat game, and I don't say it's terrible because of my Sixers side. It's okay, though. I want to get into this NBA MVP because they just announced it this past week. It's Denver Nuggets big man Nikolai Jokic, if I said his first name, but I'm gonna just say Jokic to make sure I say it right. All right, so he finished the season with 27 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, and won 48 games. I believe his team finished with the 6th seed. He is also the first player in NBA history to have 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 500 assists in this season. Jay, I'm gonna go to you first on this one. Do you think he should have won the MVP?
The short answer is no. Look, he had a great year. If you look at his numbers, they're phenomenal. And when I first heard that Embiid didn't win it, I was like, man, what are they doing? Like, I felt like Embiid should have been the clear MVP, no questions asked. Then I saw some videos and some people posting about the effect that the Joker has on his team and the amount of points that he's responsible for through scoring and assists and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, I mean, this guy did have a phenomenal year, but the NBA's MVP, it's, it doesn't always go to like the guy with the best numbers or the guy who has the most dominating year. It's sort of like a take turns kind of thing. And I thought because Joker won it last year, it was definitely Embiid's time to win it this year. And look, Embiid had a great season. I thought it was going to be his turn. But then when I dug into some of the numbers, I couldn't be that upset that the Joker won it because he did have a heck of a year as well. But if I was voting, I would have voted for Embiid.
K-Walk, what you say? Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was a little disappointed. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I just think we're in the world um filled with analytics, and analytics to me doesn't tell the whole story. It doesn't describe the full picture. Analytics, you can twist analytics in the direction that you want it to go. I gave an example yesterday for a prime example, let's say Ben Simmons shot 5 threes in a year and he made 4 of them. What is that, about 80% or so? And that's all he shot for the whole year. So that means you're telling me he's a better 3-point shooter than Steph Curry. Are you out of your mind? That's what analytics will tell you. So that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Everybody wants to go off of analytics, advanced analytics. That does not tell you the entire story. Watch the games, look to see who was more dominating in the games. Even when they went to head, yes, Denver may have beat the Sixers team, but Jokic couldn't do anything when he went up against Embiid. To me, you have to watch that. So by far, to me, Embiid was absolutely MVP. And another thing with analytics or just people in general, we got to stop looking at only the offensive side of the ball. Defense is a part of the game. Defense is a part of the game. It's a very important part of the game. Yes, Jokic offensively is a great player. Defensively, he struggles. And I don't care how many times you tell me, when a coach within the last 2 minutes of the game has to pull you out of the game because he knows he has bench player that plays defense much better than you. How are you called MVP? MVP should be on the floor no matter what. You should always be on the floor at MVP as an MVP. So I really question this whole analytics world and going based off of numbers. Because if you did that years ago, MJ may not have the as many MVPs as he has. LeBron may not have them. Kobe may not have them. But we know during those times they were the most dominating force on their team, the best overall player on their teams. So yeah, this MVP stuff is starting to become a joke. Yeah, so yeah, I guess that's the perfect Jokic joke.
Hey, two things. Number one, I think you're right about defense. I think we look too much at the offensive side when people are trying to pick an MVP. The other thing, though, that I think makes it confusing is like, what is the MVP? Like, is it the most outstanding player? Is it the guy that impacts his team the most? Is it the best player on the best team? There's so many convoluted definitions of what the MVP is that I don't even know what guys are really voting for anymore. So I think that confuses the issue as well. There's no clear-cut definition of what the MVP actually is.
Yeah, they're gonna have to correct this and change the voting for the MVP. Have more of the coaches and the players vote or something like that. More people who are part of the game more versus the news people, media. I know we're a part of that or whatnot, but let's be real. We tend to vote for, not us in particular, but news people tend to vote for who they like, who makes them happy at the end of the day. And B is not necessarily the most likable guy because he trolls a lot of people. Jokic does it. Jokic plays and he goes home. You don't ever hear from him, but you can't vote. You can't determine your MVP vote off of that. So, but that's absolutely going to have to change. But guys, because we're coming almost towards the end of my segment and I have to get this in. I've been trying to get this in for the last 3-4 weeks or something. I just haven't taken it out my segment. But I really want to know because there have been so many players in the NBA, stars, role players, and a lot of people forget a lot of these players. So I really want to know your top 5 forgotten former NBA stars or role players. I'm gonna make it easier for you because I was just gonna say stars, but make it easier to say role players. Jay, I'm gonna have you go first on this one. Who are your top 5 forgotten former NBA stars or role players?
This was tough because they're forgotten for a reason. So it was hard to kind of to go back and find some of these guys. And you had put this in the show notes like the last 3 weeks. I think my list has changed like every single week when I go back and try to research this. But one guy that was on it every single time, and these are in no particular order. Y'all remember Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, Chris Jackson? He played at LSU and then had a good career in the NBA. He was a great 3-point shooter, man. He was one of those guys that started shooting from range like before Steph Curry and Clay and some of those guys. So I had Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf on my list. Britt, you might be too young for this one, but Kay Walk will remember. What about Vinny the Microwave Johnson? I remember I remember when he used to come in for the Pistons, and obviously K-Walk, we were rooting for the Bulls at the time and all those heated battles. So I got Vinny the Microwave Johnson on my list. How about Steve Francis? Steve Francis was a really,
Ooh,
really good
yeah.
NBA player, but you don't
forgot
really
about
hear
him,
anybody
yeah.
ever talk about him. Stephon Marbury. I mean, look, when him and AI were coming out, they were like deciding who was going to be better, Marbury or AI. And AI is obviously a legend now. And Marbury, like, he's more famous in China than he is here in the United States. So, and then my last one, I'm gonna go with Eddie Jones. He was a Laker. He might have played for the Heat too. Did he play for the Heat, K-Walk, as well?
Yep.
Yeah. So Eddie Jones was a really athletic, good NBA player. So those are my five: Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, Vinny the Microwave Johnson, Stevie Francis, Stephon Marbury, and Eddie Jones.
What about you, K-Walk? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So mine's I went a little newer here. Outside of maybe one. Well, it's like 90s. So I can only remember so far back. I was like, it's too many players going on here. So my first one, you know what? I just threw him on here because I still think he doesn't get enough respect nowadays. And that's Dwight Howard. I know he's not forgotten necessarily. I think people forgot how tough and dominating he was at one point in his career, primarily with the Orlando Magic, and then with the Lakers, although him and Kobe didn't get along too well, but mainly with the Orlando Magic, he was an unstoppable force. So for all the young guys out there, young kids out there who's like Dwight Howard, go look him up on YouTube when he played with Orlando Magic, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And then I went with Monte Ellis. Remember Monte Ellis before Steph Curry got to the Warriors, and how much of how hard he was to stop, because he was so fast and athletic on the offensive side of the ball. He could do everything. He could shoot. He had great ball handling skills, and he was quick. Like, he was literally an elite scorer before Steph Curry got there. And then they ended up trading Monte Ellis because they wanted Steph to become the star of the team, which, I mean, makes sense. Look at Steph now. But Monte Ellis, yes,
that's a good one.
And then same thing with you, Jay. I went with Eddie Jones. So I'm not going to go over everything he did, but he was a great. He was one of the original 3-and-D guys from the 90s, from the
Yep.
90s. And then I'm gonna go with Amari Stoudemire. A lot of people don't talk about him enough. He played with the Suns and then the Knicks, but when he was with Steve Nash, tough guy, slam it in your face and then fix his goggles or whatnot he used to wear. So I used to love watching him play. Very athletic. And he was just tough. He was tough. And then my last guy, the original, not the original Indiana Pacer, but the Indiana Pacers from the early 2000s, Danny Granger. Danny Granger.
Yeah.
That's another person
Yeah.
that nobody talks about. They just forgot. He really was a star. I think he won most improved player. He was an all-star, and he averaged about 25 points per game for 2 straight seasons. He was a very efficient scorer, but I think he got hurt, which kind of derailed his career a little bit. So those are my top 5: Danny Granger, Amari Stoudemire, Monte Ellis, Dwight Howard, and Eddie Jones. All right. Jay, you mind if I take like an extra couple minutes to go over the draft battle real fast?
Take it. We got to do a draft. I worked hard on that, so we got to do it.
All right, guys. So I got this new thing I wanted to do. It's not really new, but I wanted to do a draft battle. So what I did is I chose 4 drafts. It's only 2 rounds. Well, 3 rounds, I guess you could say. So it's kind of like a versus battle. So the first one's going to be 1996 versus 2003. Then it's going to be 1984 versus 1985. And whoever we think is the winner out of those 2 groups, then they get a little draft battle. And we ultimately determine who we think was the best draft. All right. So the first one, 1996 versus the draft of 1996 versus 2003. For those who don't know, AI came out of 96 draft. LeBron came out of the 03 draft. K-Walk, you want to take this one first? Who you got out of 96 and 03? Yes. Oh, no. So it's which draft do you think is better? The 03 or the 96 draft? Yeah. No. Not a draft, not a draft. Jay, what you say?
Look, I'm not mad at it, K-Walk, because when you look at 03, you got LeBron, Melo, Bosh, and Wade. Like, those are 4 great players right there. But other than that, like, the next best guys were like David West and Perkins. When you look at 96, they might not have 4 great players, but that is a deep draft. You got Kobe, you got AI, you got Marcus Camby, Sharif Abdur-Rahim, Stephon Marbury, Ray Allen, Antoine Walker, Steve Nash, Jermaine O'Neal. Like, that was a deep draft. So I guess it depends on what you want. Do you want the 4 guys at the top, or do you want AI and Kobe, and then everybody else? So I'm going 96, man. Kobe and AI, and then a bunch of really good players. Give me 96, Britt.
Yeah. For me, I love the 2003 draft, but it's just not as deep. There's no depth to it. The depth starts going to Boris Diaw. Where is he at? And Leandro Barbosa. He went back to Brazil, I think. But I got to go with 96. You got AI, you got Kobe, and then you go deeper. Derek Fisher came out in that draft.
Yeah.
Ilgauskas came out in that draft. Eric Dampier, I don't know if I said his last name right. He came out in that draft. Peja Stojakovic. Like, these were all great or decent players, and I think Paige was technically considered a star for the Sacramento Kings for a little bit.
Yeah.
So that depth
Yeah.
on that 96 draft is just something different. So I got to go 96 on that one. All right. So 96 wins for that round. And then second round, we got 1984 versus 1985. So just to give you guys a heads up who's listening, MJ, Michael Jordan came out in 84. Patrick Ewing came out in 85. Jay, I'm going to start with you on this one. Who you got?
You know, kind of like the last one, I don't think 84 is that deep. You got Hakeem the Dream, you got MJ, Sam Perkins, Charles Barkley, and John Stockton. Like, those are the five. I kept going down the list, and there were a lot of people I never heard of. 85, you got Patrick Ewing, Chris Mullin, Charles Oakley, Detlef Schrempf, Karl Malone, Joe Dumars, AC Green. So there's more depth there, but I ain't picking against MJ's draft. Like, this dude's the greatest of all time. So, and the Dream and Charles Bart. I mean, those are some really good players. So I'm going to go against my own logic from the first time. And this time I'm taking the quality. I'm going 84 on this one.
All right, K-Walk, what you say? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what? This is going to be unanimous on this one. I got to go 84. A draft with MJ and Hakeem Olajuwon, like, that speaks for itself. And of course, you got to throw Charles Barkley, just out of, well, not out of respect, but John Stockton and those in that nature. It's so hard to go against them. Even if you don't know any players on either draft, it is very hard to go against MJ and Hakeem Olajuwon. It really honestly is.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, last round for all the marbles of the best draft ever. And don't be biased because you're an MJ fan now. Be fair. 96. No, I'm gonna start. Let's do it in order. 1984 NBA draft versus 1996 NBA draft. K-Walk. I'm gonna go with K-Walk first on this one. Okay. Yeah, what about you, Jay?
It's tough. It's tough because I argued so well for the 96 draft the first time because they're so deep, you know, all the great players we mentioned. Mm-hmm. But when MJ is sitting on the other side, I mean, this guy changed basketball. And then you got the Dream, you got Sir Charles. It's, man, but look, Kobe and AI are no slouches. I mean, they're right there on that same tier, but I gotta go 84. And Britt, I have a feeling you're gonna go 96, but I gotta go 84 here.
This one was tough for me, but I didn't want to be the MJ, the greatest of all time. I really try to take the depth into consideration. How many all-stars really came out of each draft? How many Hall of Famers came out of each draft? So forth and so forth. So because of that, that's the only reason why I got to go with 96. I got to go with 96. Not because that's the primary era that I watch. But again, you got AI. Pound for pound. No. Pound for pound, the best player to ever play the game. And he changed the culture of the game. Stephon Marbury, I don't think he gets enough credit for what he did. He was a very good player. Very, very good player. Right. Ray Allen, people forget how Ray Allen played when he first came in the league, especially when he was with the Supersonics. They don't have the Supersonics no more. But when he was with the Supersonics, he wasn't just a scorer. He was dunking on everybody. He was doing everything.
Right.
Kobe, of course, and that's another thing. You know, Kobe completely modeled his game at the MJ. So that was kind of the different. He was the 96 MJ. Kobe is the 96 MJ, basically, right? And then you got Jermaine O'Neal. People forget about Jermaine O'Neal.
Oh my God, I love that dude.
And
I should have put him in my top 5 forgotten players.
He was tough. Like, he was tough and gritty, and you needed that guy. And then Derek Fisher. You know, I wasn't a huge Derek Fisher fan because, you know, I'm not a Lakers fan, but I got to give Derek Fisher credit. He got 5 chips just like Kobe got 5 chips. Granted, they was on the same team, but he ended up being a great player. So I got to go 96. But to be all fair, the shoot around has agreed that the 84 NBA draft is the best draft class of all time. So there you go.
Hey, I was just looking it up real quick. Both of them, 96 and 84, have 4 Hall of Famers. But I think you're right, Britt. 96 has more all-stars and things like that. So you're not far off with your pick, but it's gonna be hard for me and K Walk to ever pick against MJ. It's gonna be hard.
Facts. Childhood idol, man. Childhood idol.
All right, guys, we gotta head into our next break because thank you to Jay. I was able to run over into his segment just to get through that draft class, but we got some more fun coming on. And Jay, if you need an extra 10 minutes, I know the Boston Bucks game's on right now, but if you need a little extra time, you can always take it. All right. All right. But when we come back, Jay's gonna take over. You guys are listening to the Shoot Around with myself, Britne Jones, alongside Jason Collins and Kevin Walker, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. You're listening to the Shoot Around with Britne Jones, Kevin Walker, and Jason Collins right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit more NBA here. I don't really want to get into a game breakdown or anything like that, but just some quick thoughts on some of these other series that are going on. So Bucks Celtics is happening right now. That game probably just tipped off a few minutes ago. I feel like all losses are not created equal. And I think the loss in game 5 by the Celtics, I feel like that loss might have some carryover tonight. They were up big and then they end up losing that game in the final minutes. Those are the kind of losses that can really hurt a team. So K-Walk, did Boston let one get away? And then how do you see game 6 playing out tonight?
Yeah, Jay, I thought they let 2 of them get away, but the last game for sure, I thought they let it get away from them. I mean, you got 2 guys. I mean, you know, you want to attack the basket and you want to, attack the boards. But those 2 guys were attacking the basket, it's a little too much, or fighting with themselves for sure. That definitely got away from them. All they had to do was just grab that rebound. And then, we're talking about, free throw shooting contest from there. And I thought that it would probably been in the favor of Boston Celtics. So, yeah, I mean, that's a hard one to swallow, Jay. It's a difference between being up, 3-2 and being down 3-2. So, yeah, I don't know if it's going to be a carryover, Jay, but the Bucks have that crowd, man, and Giannis is coming out there. They smell the blood in the water, as I mentioned last night with you, Britt, that the Heat smelled the blood in the water, versus the Sixers. I think this is the same type of situation, but I do think it's going to be a little bit different. You're going to see a more of a fight from the Celtics than you did from the Sixers last night. So these guys know that they're equipped to win a championship. So in the Celtics. So I think that they're going to ultimately. I'm putting my money on. I'm not a betting man, but I'm putting my money on the Celtics tonight for sure.
Yeah, watching the series, it feels like Boston's the better team. Like, especially with Chris Middleton not playing, like it feels like Boston has really been the better team, but obviously, they're down 3-2. Britt, what chance do you give them tonight? Do you think they can win on the road?
Well, I know for sure. Yes, if you're watching the YouTube, I rep my 76ers all day, every day. Let's know this for sure. But I know for darn sure Boston is not going out how the Sixers went out. Okay, they're not going out that way. Now they might lose, but they're going to lose swinging. They're gonna lose. They're gonna go down swinging. So they definitely gonna put up a fight. If you look at the previous matchup from the last series, even this series, when they're struggling, they always maybe have Al Horford or somebody is rooting them on, trying to make this thing go into a positive direction. They usually turn it around. Last game was just really tough. Marcus Smart got blocked by Drew Holiday, which was a great move. But I think Boston will definitely play a lot better. As far as winning, I'm not sure if they're going to win this game because let's be real. The last game, the main reason why they won, not just because Drew Holiday made such a great defensive play or whatnot. They have Giannis. Giannis is their motivator.
Yeah.
Giannis is an awesome motivator. He motivates himself and he motivates his team. When I look over between him and his brother, they're always rallying the team together. Like, come on, we got this. Let's go. Let's go. And that's exactly what they did. So tonight, I just think Giannis is going to want to end it. I'm not 100% sure, but whoever comes out of this series, the Heat got a tough matchup. They got a tough matchup to deal with in their next series. So, but if I had to choose, I'm gonna go with the Bucks.
Yeah. Well, hey, you mentioned Al Horford. Let's shout out Al. This guy, he's gone back into a time machine. He's been absolutely fantastic. And they were saying that the Celtics might get some help from their big man tonight, that he might have been coming back. Is it Williams? I think it is. I can't, his name isn't coming to me, but they said he might play tonight. So if he does, that's going to give Boston some added help that they need. All right, let's talk about another series that's a little bit surprising. I don't know anyone who was really giving Dallas a chance against Phoenix. We've got a 3-3 series. Luka and them boys will not go away quietly. What do you think, Britt? I mean, game 7, how's this thing going to play out?
Can I say Luka with a capital L? Because he killed it the last game. He said, we are not going out that way. And they destroyed the Suns in the last game. And I had the Suns going to the championship, and I'm really starting to question that now. Because Chris Paul, he's been struggling a little bit here. But you know what? I'm a rally around the Suns. I'm going to give faith in Chris Paul. I think they're going to pull it out. I think Devin Booker is going to hopefully be D-Book again. And then DeAndre Jordan hopefully will show up behind Chris Paul's leadership. Chris Paul been here before, and he really wants this championship. So I think the Suns are going to pull it out. But, man, the Mavericks with Luka, they're going to be a force to reckon with, especially after this season. And he's only like 22, 23. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, that's scary that he's so young and plays with so much poise and confidence. You can't speed him up. He just plays his game. K-Walk, what do you think, man? Game 7, you know how that goes. Anything can happen. How do you see that one playing out?
Yeah, Jay. I mean, when you look at this team, man, as far as the Mavericks, I call them Luka and the Mavericks, man. I mean, they're putting on a great show right now. This is a great band, if you will. They're playing on a big stage, and then they're showing their talents. Last week we couldn't even think of another player off of the top of our heads, after Luka. You of course you got, Jalen Brunson now you're starting to know these guys. Now these names are starting to be embedded in your head. So it's one of those games, is one of those series. It was like, I'm going with the Suns though, because of the fact of the matter is they're at home. Kind of what Britne alluded to. You got Chris Paul, who's hungry. You got Devin Booker. Those guys, Ayton, Cam Johnson, and Imani Williams is not going to allow these guys to go down. And again, they're at home, so I'm giving them an advantage here. But it's not going to be easy, Jay. Even though all that mentioned, and they're at home, I still think that the Mavericks are going to go down, with their best hit, if you will. For Luka and the Magic are going to come in there and sing their best hit, and then hopefully that'll get propel them to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, no, I think I'm with you guys. I'm going to pick the Suns too, but look, I think it's going to be a really entertaining and close game. All right, I felt like the Warriors really blew an opportunity the other night. Like, no Ja Morant, and they just get their doors completely blown off. Now, they've given the Grizzlies some life, and we've got a big game 6 coming up. Britt, what do you think about this one?
Woo, then they beat them by like 52 or something crazy.
Yeah, they
I
worked
thought
them.
the Sixers
Yeah.
had an embarrassing loss. They blew us by miles. And nobody was hurt on the Warriors. Ew.
Right.
This is why I had the Memphis Grizzlies as one of the contenders in my top 3 contending teams prior to the end of the season. They're showing you because they actually played, to me, better defense when Ja is not there. It's like they play as more of a whole when he's not there. This is not to say Ja is not part of that whole. Yes, when he's there, they play just as good. But to me, it's just something they get motivated, or maybe that's Ja on the sideline motivating, like, hey guys, you guys can kill him. But their defense they elevate their defense, and then they get scoring from about 4 or 5 different guys. I think I look at the stat sheet, at least 3 guys had, I think, 21 points. That's crazy. 3 unknown guys. And that's why, for those who rooted for Jay's team last week, that's why I chose Desmond Bain. But go check his highlights. Go on comment on YouTube. Oh, Jay got the best team. No, you don't. I got the best team. Just letting y'all know. I'm sorry. All right. But
hey, the comments don't lie, Britt.
This is definitely going to be an interesting one. I'm gonna go with Memphis. It's something I like. Memphis. I might be dead wrong, and I'm completely going out there for this one, but I'm gonna go with Memphis on this one. I'm taking Memphis.
Hey, look, they've been great all year without Ja. I think at one point they were like 18-2 when Morant is out of the lineup. So they're definitely used to playing without him. K-Walk, what do you think, man? Game 6, do you give the Grizzlies a shot?
Nah. I'm gonna give them a shot. Yeah, but I don't see them pulling it off, though. I don't see them pulling it off. I know, the numbers, everything. You guys love the analytics. I can care less about all that. I know the Memphis on paper, or from the number standpoint, are better without Ja. I just can't buy that. So with that being said, the Warriors doing their thing at home, I have to go with the Warriors. They've been here. I just really think that they're just bored. And there's, like I mentioned on Wednesday night on my show, I just think that the Warriors are kind of like a cat when you're playing with a dead mouse. You just smack it around, smack it around until you're ready to eat it. And I just think that's what the Golden State Warriors are right now. They're just a team that's just ready. They're bored right now. Now they're ready to eat now. Now they understand that it's getting late right now, getting late early. So they got to eat that mouse now. And I think they ultimately will eat the mouse for sure.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, I think we're going to get a more focused Warriors team for sure. So yeah. I think I like Golden State in this one too. I'm going to be with you on that one, K-Walk. All right, guys, look, we did some draft comparisons. We talked about forgotten players. I want to talk about some of the NBA's dirtiest players of all time. And there's a lot to choose from. Some of these guys might have a reputation, but aren't really dirty. But I kind of very interested to see what you guys came up with this. So give me, Britt, I'll start with you. Give me 3 of your dirtiest NBA players of all time.
All right, I'm going from 3 to 1. 3 to 1. So we're going to start with number 3. I got to go with Zaza Pachulia. Zaya, he was a dirty player.
That's a good one.
He's the reason why they came up with the Kawhi Leonard rule for the shooters. Now you got to allow the shooters to land because he stuck his foot under Kawhi's foot, and he caused him to twist his ankle. But he used to take some cheap shots. He took a cheap shot on Russell Westbrook. I remember Westbrook was on the floor and he purposely fell on his legs. Like, who does that? That's how you know you dirty. And then he almost broke Kawhi's arm one time. He grabbed his arm and took him down to the ground. So Zaya was definitely a dirty player. I don't care what, he's a night. Nah, on the court, he was dirty. My next one, I got to go with Ron. I got to go with Ron Artest, AKA Meta World Peace.
World Peace.
I have to. He used to pull down people's shorts. He blew in the ear of LeBron James. And I started to question him a little bit about that. Uh-huh. Yeah. And then y'all remember when he elbowed James Harden in the back of his head, trying to talk about, I was just celebrating. I didn't know he was here. You knew he was there. Come on now. Like, Come on. And for those who don't know, he's probably one of the most modern players who actually got suspended a lot for doing quite a few cheap shots and destroyed a camera at the Madison Square Garden. So yeah, he was a dirty player. And then my number one overall dirty player to me of all time in the NBA was Bill Lambert. Did I say that right?
Yep.
In the Detroit Pistons. I'm gonna put the whole Detroit Pistons in there, but if I had to choose a player, Bill Lambert, 6'11" center. He was one of the dirtiest players of all time. He body slammed Larry Bird to the ground. He every time he would contest shots, he would poke somebody in the eye. Like, he took so many cheap shots. He grabbed MJ's arm when he went up in the air and threw him down to the ground. So when Lambert hit you, he was trying to hurt you, and players knew he was trying to purposely hurt you. And I think he was also the most hated player in the NBA. He had fights with everybody: MJ, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing. Nobody liked this guy. That's my
that's great stuff. Like Lambert, like if you go back and watch some of his stuff on YouTube, like you're not even sure if you're watching basketball. Like, it was that crazy. Like, some of the fights that he got in with Larry Bird, like, that would not be tolerated at all in today's NBA. So those are definitely three good ones. All right, K-Walk, what you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna start where Britt left off. Number three for me was Bill Lambert, for everything that Britt laid out. I mean, we know the bad boys and the Michael Jordan rules, the Jordan rules, I should say. We know that how many fights they got into, and that's what ultimately got Mike over the hump. And then that from the mental standpoint. So yeah, Bill Lambert was my top three dirtiest player of all time. Number two, I'm going to stay, kind of like on the Pistons, or Pistons theme here. It seems to be, and then that's because you mentioned Microwave Johnson earlier, Jay, in the show. But I'm going to go with Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman was one of those guys who would just constantly just get under your skin, elbow you, trip you, whatever the case may be. And we all know Dennis Rodman and how he was, even when he was with the Bulls. I mean, with the things that he did with Karl Malone, I get it. He's trying. It was more a psychological advantage he was trying to gain there. I get that, but he was still dirty nonetheless. Number one, I mean, I don't think a lot of people don't realize this guy is very dirty. Bruce Bowen from the San Antonio Spurs. I think that guy was the most dirtiest player that I've ever seen. I mean, there are a lot, Jay. I mean, I can go on and on, but just to narrow it down to three was really tough. But those three are the ones that stick out for me. Bruce Bowen, I just can't stand when I see him on TV. Now he's wearing the bow tie and everything like that, man. Like, he's like, this stand-up guy, and he didn't do anything wrong, But yeah, Bruce Bowen was definitely a dirty guy, man. You mentioned Britt, the 3-point shooters. He would, he would foul those guys just like, your guy did as well. And then, the pick and rolls as well. You can throw John Stockton as an honorable mention as well. So I'm going to go with Bill Lambert, number three, Dennis Rodman, number two, and Bruce Bowen, number one. And I'm throwing John Stockton there as my alternate. I mean, as a alternative there, right there.
Yeah, I wrote down a lot of names, and all these guys are on my list. But I'm going to pick up where you left off, K-Walk, with Bruce Bowen. He was my number three guy for all the reasons that you mentioned, and a good defender, but just some of the stuff that he did was very questionable, right? And then, Britt, I think you said Ron Artest. He was my number two guy for everything that you talked about, just some of the stuff that he did. Again, a great defender, but over the line in a lot of different cases. And then last but not least, I had to go with Bill Lambert as well, man. I was watching some footage of this guy. Larry Bird went down the lane one time and he just like punched him in the face, man. And they're on the ground swinging. I mean, just not even making it look like a basketball play. So I had to go with Lambert as the dirtiest of all time. So I had Bowen, Artest, and then Lambert as my dirtiest player of all time. But good stuff there, guys. There was definitely a lot to choose from, but I think we got the best ones out of between the three of us.
Detroit Pistons should be, honestly, the whole Detroit Piston bad boys. They just
serious.
They really take it all. They take it all.
Yep.
And Bill Lambert was leader of that. So there you go.
Yeah, no doubt. Like you could have threw. Who was the big guy? Who was that big guy on the Pistons? It was was it Mahorn? Rick Mahorn. You could
Rick
throw him in.
Mahorn.
You could throw him in that as well. Yep.
Mhm.
All right, guys. Last thing before we wrap this up. All right. The game, last second. We got one shot left. You know, the game's on the line. Let's make the stakes higher. Your life's on the line. You need one player to make a shot for you. You need one player to make a shot for you. And K Walk, I said no MJ, just because I know that's probably where you and I were going to go without even thinking. So MJ's out. Yeah. MJ's retired. He's playing baseball, so no MJ. K Walk, game's on the line. Your life's on the line. Who's going to shoot that shot for you?
And it better not be Tyler Hero.
Stop it. Stop it. Let me ask you this, Jay. Game's on the line. All right. What are we down now? What are we down now? We down 2, we down 1.
You're down 1. What do we need? You just need a bucket. Down 1. You just need a bucket.
All right, I need a bucket. I'm down 1. All right. It has to be is it all right, it doesn't matter if it's a jump shot or not. We just need a bucket. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to go with my, this is Jay, this is really a tough one. I'm going to go with Steph, man. I'm going to go with the greatest shooter of all time. So I'm going to, I have to say Steph. If we call him the greatest shooter of all time, I cannot not say Steph. So I'm going to go Steph Curry.
Okay. Hey, I'm not mad at it. He was definitely on my short list, so I'm not mad at it. Britt, where are you going on this one?
K-Walk, just to let you know, he has missed some in the clutch. Okay.
Yeah, he has. So is MJ.
I love Steph. I love Steph, but he has missed quite a few. I'm a cheat on this one, guys. I'm sorry, but this confidence, extreme, probably one of the most clutch players ever in the history of the NBA. I gotta go with MJ's protege, Kobe. I gotta go with Kobe Bryant. Okay. Like he never lets you down. He wants the ball in those moments. Like he's like, give me the ball, and I promise you, I'm going to make it, especially if you challenge it. So if he knows your life is on the line, he's going to drill it for you. There is a reason why we count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we scream out who? Kobe. There's a reason for that. So I gotta go with the one and only Kobe Bryant.
I say MJ. That's the young kid saying that. No, I don't say that.
Here he go.
No, I'm saying that's a young kid thing. That's a young kid thing. I ain't me. I'm MJ all day.
All right, good stuff, Britt. Yeah, look, you can't go wrong with Kobe. He's definitely on my short list as well.
Can't go wrong.
I'm going a little off the grid here. I'm going a little different. As I start thinking about this, I said, I got to pick somebody whose shot is not going to be bothered, who the defense is not going to matter. So I'm going way back here. I'm going Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, man. Throw it to Kareem and let him throw that sky hook. The defense isn't going to bother him. It's just going to be whether or not he can make the shot. So I'm going with Kareem on this one to win the game and to save my life. What y'all think about Kareem?
I can't be mad at that, Jay. I really can't be mad. That is the probably not probably the most unguardable shot in the history of basketball, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Like this, even people trying to emulate that shot and they can't get it down. They try to do some form of it and it's still not right. Literally, that
abbreviated
shot
version.
Is owned, copyrighted, everything by Kareem. And he's been the only one who has been able to do it since he's done it in the NBA. So yeah, I agree with Carol. It's the most unguardable shot ever.
Yeah, even Magic, he hit some big time shots against the Celtics, and they call it the baby skyhook. They can't even call it a sky; it's a baby skyhook. So
yeah, for sure. All right, good stuff, guys. Let's get ready to get out of here, but let's do our Who's Ballin' segment before we do. Every week we want to just shout out somebody that's been playing great, or even a team that's been playing great, and just shine a little bit of light on somebody that's been absolutely balling. So K-Walk, I'll start with you this week. Who's balling?
All right, I'm going to go. I'm not going to go with the obvious, man. You know, I'm going to go with a Heat guy, but it's not the obvious guy. I'm going to go with Max Strus here, man. I'm going to go with Max Strus, man. Max Strus had 20 points last night, and I think we have 19 the other night in the game 5. So this guy, ever since he's been implemented into the inserted into the starting lineup for the Heat, he's been absolutely balling. So I loved him last night. He came out fired up. He knew that in game 4, when he was in Philly, he knew he missed some open shots, and he came out in game 5 and game 6 and said that, listen, I'm not missing any open shots anymore. You give me the opportunity, I'm going to do it. So my man, Max Strus, was balling.
All right, absolutely. I'm gonna go second here, just so Britt doesn't steal my guy. I'm going Al Horford. I mean, this guy is just going back into the time machine. He's been fantastic. I mean, to be 36 years old and playing the way that he's been playing the last couple games, Al Horford has been absolutely balling.
You know what? Before, and I was gonna wait for this at the end, but before I tell you who's my balling pick, I do want to shout out the legend, because we didn't talk about him. Recently passed away. Pistons, I believe
Bob
Pistons
Lanier.
and Bucks legend, Bob Lanier. So
Bob
for
Lanier,
those who don't know, go check. Hall of Fame, big man,
Woo,
awesome.
yes.
Probably one of the best big men in the history of the NBA. Unfortunately, he recently passed away, so he's my honorable balling mention today. So,
Good call.
but for my actual balling person, I gotta shout out the entire Bucks team, and what they did in Game 5, especially in that comeback victory in the fourth quarter to take the 3-2 series lead against the Celtics. Jrue Holiday was clutch, not only on the defensive side of the ball, but the offensive side of the ball. He made a huge 3 and a huge got a huge block on Marcus Smart. And also Giannis dropped 40 points in that game. 40 points, and they came back and won. That game was, this is the most exciting series in all of basketball right now, by the way. But the Bucks was balling.
Absolutely. That's a great call. I've kind of become a Celtics fan somehow, just watching this series. I find myself rooting for the Celtics, so hopefully those Bucks aren't balling too much tonight. But you're right, Britt. They've been fantastic the last couple times out. All right, let's wrap it up, guys. Britt, it's the weekend. What are you looking forward to this weekend? And tell the people where they can find you, social media, and all that good stuff.
All right, so I'm looking forward to finish up the second round of the series, and I'm really interested to see who's going to be in the Eastern Conference, because I don't see you guys till next Friday. So who's going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals, because that's definitely going to be a big one. I think the Bucks are up a little bit. I think it's 20-24 right now. So I'm going to finish watching this game as soon as we're done here. But just see what's going on with the rest of the basketball world. Bunch of series. So let's continue to watch that. You guys can find me. And I do have Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I have all the same name, at Britne Monique. I will spell it for you again, at Britne. Kind of see it, my name there, Monique. So at Britne Monique. That's on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. It's all the same name. And you can find us on YouTube. For those who are watching us on YouTube, the Shoot Around BJK podcast. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff, Britt. Yeah, I'm like you. I'm just looking forward to these games this weekend. There should be some good games that we get, some big games, some important games. So I just can't wait to see how these games are going to play out. You can find me on social media on Instagram and TikTok at Jason Talk Sports. It's the same on both. So check me out at Jason Talk Sports. K-Walk, what about you, man? What are you looking forward to this weekend?
Yeah, I'm just looking for as Britne said, I'm just looking forward to see who's going to be in these conference finals. For sure, see who my Miami Heat are going to face. I know I know the angel says be careful what you ask for. I know you always ask me, Jay, who I want the Heat to see. You know what? I'm not gonna. I rather see right now. The way that the Bucks are playing. I just hope the Celtics can pull this one off, because the Bucks are looking really scary right now, and they don't even have Chris Middleton in the mix right now. So I'm just whomever they come, whomever the Miami Heat faces. I'm looking forward to that series for sure. And the other series, let's see if Luka and the Mavericks can pull off, one of the greatest performances and beat these guys, and also see what the Golden State Warriors do as well. As far as social media goes, you can catch me on Twitter, Kevin Walker 142, and on Instagram, Kevin Walker Walker 142 as well. And obviously, you can catch us on YouTube now. So I'm looking forward to that. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to apologize for my mic not being open in the beginning of the show, but I got it fixed out. We got it fixed, I hope. And so next week we'll do a lot better for sure. We'll get better every day.
All right, good stuff, guys. That was another great one for the books. Listeners, we appreciate you listening to the Shoot Around podcast. For Britne Jones and Kevin Walker, I'm Jason Collins. We'll see you next Friday at 7 p.m.